Outrage and tears in the courtroom as a judge suspends a decade-long sentence for a young driver who killed 3 people who were in her car. Instead, 19-year-old Hailey Zenk will face 4 months of shock jail time for that accident. Fox 2's Mallory Thomas was there for the sentencing.
Hailey Zenk sentenced to 120 days shock jail time. She was sentenced just upstairs in the courtroom and then immediately brought down in handcuffs and taken across the street to the St. Charles County Jail. Now, family members and friends of victims creating an overflow outside the courtroom while victim statements were read and the judge handed down his rulings, ultimately calling this justice with tempered mercy as he sentenced Zenk to 10 years for DWI, death of 2 or more, and 7 years for each count of involuntary manslaughter, then making the decision to suspend her sentence, meaning she will be on probation after serving 120 days in the St. Charles County Jail. Lincoln County Prosecuting Attorney Mike Woods says this case is a tragedy for every person involved, but he's proud of them getting a conviction.
Our job was to prosecute the case. We got a conviction on every single one of the charges, and then ultimately the judge hears the evidence that's in favor, that's mitigating evidence, and ultimately he has to make that decision, and that's how our criminal justice system works.
This is extremely emotional for all of the families involved. Some of the families reading minute by minute to the judge when they found out their son died. Other family members letting the judge know how their loved one's loss has impacted their families and the loss of memories that they will no longer have. Hailey also getting emotional as she was speaking with the judge and the families.
I just want to say, I had the opportunity to apologize for everything, why this happened. I'm just sorry that this happened. I wish it never did, but it does. I'm just so sorry.
I wish this had never happened. But unfortunately, we deal with the realities of poor decisions.
As the story goes, Lincoln County, Missouri woman Hailey Zenk admitted she was under the influence of drugs and alcohol when she crashed into a tree in 2023 and killed 3 passengers. The Missouri State Highway Patrol said a 2008 Ford Focus was driving north when it briefly flew into the air, skidded off the road, hit a tree, and flipped over. The other 3 passengers in the car, William Flickinger, 18, Emily McNess, 17, and Caden Tyler, 15, were pronounced dead at the scene. Someone please explain to me how the drunk driver always survives these accidents, and not only survives, but many times walks away without a scratch. I read a comment on this story asking what is wrong with the Missouri legal system. But the reality is, it's the whole country. I previously did a video on James Farley, the Ohio man sentenced to 30 days in jail for causing a fatal accident on I-90. There's a link to that story at the end of this video. After facing a possible consecutive prison sentence of 7 years for DWI, 5 to 15 years on a fatal DUI charge, and 3 to 10 years for each of the 3 involuntary manslaughter charges, the judge was bold enough to minimize her sentence to 120 days in jail. Why didn't he go a step further, like Judge Worley in the Brent Spicer case, and sentence her to probation so she can go walk her dogs like Bren and act as if it never happened? Would it be too much if Hailey's attorneys asked if she could serve her 120 days on weekdays? She shouldn't have to miss the entire summer, right? She should be able to get out of jail and enjoy her weekends this summer.